That's right. We're talking Tony Pollard or DeAndre Swift. Which one do you like in Dynasty more in 2023 and beyond? And you could talk about it from a short-term Dynasty perspective or a long-term Dynasty perspective, because there are different ways to build and look at Dynasty for the now and couple years or 4 or 5 years down the road. Everybody builds differently. Everybody looks at Dynasty differently, but the Fantasy Football Show begins right now. The Dynasty channel, baby. We're back. We're doing a show. My goal, I know I've done this before, but now that free agency's died down, we're going to try and do a show every single day. My goal right now, a show on this Dynasty channel every single day moving forward through the season. Let's go.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
This is the Dynasty channel. Make sure you sub up if you haven't already. We got a bunch of people in the building here. Joe, appreciate you. Peanut Butter and Waivers in the building. Appreciate all of you filing in. Mealy's here. Danger is here. Thomas is here. And Tommy is here. 2 Tommy boys in the house. Tommy and Thomas. Appreciate you all being here. Let's talk Pollard and Swift. Swift and Pollard. Who is your favorite walking into 2023 Dynasty, 2023 and beyond? There's advantages to both guys. You know, when we look at a pure skill angle, this guy Swift is skilled and talented as almost anybody. I'm going to put this down here and put my Smitty approval at the end, okay? And let's make this a different color because that is not showing up very well. So we'll go like this, okay? So at the end of this, I'm going to put my little circle around the winner, whether it's going to be Pollard or Swift. I'm going to put it right here. I think you kind of know what I'm going to say if you know me well. But there's an argument to be made here, and let's make both arguments. Let's not just be closed-minded and say Swift can't be the guy or Pollard can't be the guy. Let's be very objective and open-minded to this topic. Swift is one of the most gifted players in the National Football League from a physical perspective, a talent perspective, an ability to catch the football, an ability to run the football, an ability to hit a home run from any point on the field during any touch. There's the positive, okay? Tony Pollard, you could say the same thing. You could say that both of them aren't made to be 22 carry running backs. Both of them are very similar in that they are Alvin Kamara type hybrid workhorse running backs. And Swift, you could say, has the ability, if he could stay healthy, to be a workhorse. Just because he's a Alvin Kamara type, it would be a hybrid type of workhorse. But here's the problem. Both of them have shown they can score from anywhere on the field. Both of them have been electric at times when they're given a carry in a certain situation. They can pop it off. Literally every carry, these guys could run to the house. The problem is this guy Swift is not only getting the support of his coaching staff because they talk about restricting him. Not only is that in play here to kind of ruin his potential momentum in his career, this point in his career, where he has the ability to literally become a top 5 to 10 running back. Monty gets brought in to be the Jamal Williams replacement. I think what everybody was waiting for was the Detroit Lions to not really replace Jamal Williams and bring in another supporting role type player and then shove Swift kind of into that role. Even if Swift wasn't going to run 22 times a game, didn't matter, right? It was more of, okay, is he the lead dog? Is he the biggest name on the roster? There's so many red flags going against Swift, and I'm going to talk about the red flags in a minute for Tony Pollard before we come to the conclusion. But with Swift, there's tons of red flags. There's the fact that he can't stay healthy, the fact that he hasn't stayed healthy, and we have no sign of him being able to shake free of that injury label. Had he come out and had like a really healthy year but just wasn't used properly, we could say, well, there's hope that he could stay healthy, but we literally have no evidence that he can stay healthy at the NFL level. And some guys just can't. Some players just cannot stay healthy, and he reeks of that inability to be able to stay on the field. And I don't get a good sense that will change. It doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean there isn't a place where we want to draft Swift, right? It doesn't mean that I don't want him on 2 or 3 of my 5 to 7 or 5 to 10 dynasty leagues that I'll probably end up having at the beginning of the year, because I try and cut back, but I can't. I'm addicted. It's a problem. But will there be 1, 2, 3 teams where I have him on my bench? Absolutely. And I'll feel good about it. I'll feel like I have a home run hitter. I don't want anybody walking away from this video. In any Swift video I do, I make it very clear, even though some people don't listen to me. They hear me, but they don't listen to me. Or they listen to me, but they don't really hear me, I guess is the way that it's said in the past. I think the problem, though, is there's so many, like I said, red flags and issues with Swift. He can't stay healthy. He hasn't proven he can stay healthy. His coaching staff replaced Jamal Williams with Monty, who's got a track record of being a workhorse. And on top of that, he's still young. And you could blame his demise in Chicago on him, or you could logically look at the situation and go, Nagy was a big problem. Monty did prove he was number 4 in fantasy football not too long ago. He's been capable of being that kind of player at the NFL level. He's proven it before. Swift hasn't. Jamal Williams rushed for a league-leading touchdown total on the ground, and that job's being handed over to Swift. I'm sorry, to Monty. And Swift is going to remain in his side role in the side carriage of this running back room. And on top of that, the coaching staff comes out and says, we're going to limit Swift's touches. We're going to try and keep him healthier by limiting him in 2023. When you hear the term limit, we're going to limit, the way that it's worded is if they haven't limited him already, this is going to be more of a limit than in the past, it seems. So what's the kind of workload he's going to get? He's going to get like 4 carries. He's going to get like 4 carries and 3 receptions. That's not going to allow him to survive in fantasy lineups. And the problem you're going to have is you're going to put him on your bench, and then he's going to blow up when he's on your bench, and then you're going to put him in your lineup, and he's going to drop a nothing burger in your lineup. There's a lot of reasons to be concerned. There's a lot of reasons to be hyped about having Swift on your bench. And in best ball, it's really awesome to have Swift on your bench because you don't have to make a single decision. The decisions are made for you. And when he goes nuts, then Swift is going to be inserted automatically in your lineup. So Swift is a great best ball player. He's a great best ball piece, but he's not safe in redraft or in dynasty that's not connected to any sort of best ball play. This is a very risky proposition walking into 2023 and beyond. You just don't have any guarantees, and you have no signs of this man being an absolute monster on a consistent level. You just have zero evidence to prove, other than he's very talented. One of the most talented players in the National Football League, but we've seen talent come and go before. Just because you're talented doesn't mean you are going to play good football for a consistent amount of time. Let's make that eyeball count 1920 in here. Match the thumbs up. And if you're watching this thinking you're watching the normal channel, you're not. This is the Dynasty channel. You're maybe suggested this video because you watched the main channel. Please subscribe to the Dynasty channel. Before I move on to Tony Pollard, actually I'm gonna go to the comments after I talk about Tony Pollard. I don't want to get sidetracked. Some of the concerns we laid out for Swift are similar to the concerns we have of Pollard. Situation, right? Swift is not in a great situation, even though the Detroit Lions run the ball well. They're on the up and up. Everybody loves the Lions right now because they're making great moves. There's situation concern. Monty's there. Now, Pollard has less of a concern in terms of workload now, but Jerry Jones is very capable of trading up and drafting Bijan. Could he bring in a Gibbs? Could he bring in a Charbonnet? Could he draft Sean Tucker later in the draft? Could a Bigsby be brought in? All of you excited about Zeke Elliott being released shouldn't be excited at all about Zeke Elliott being released. Every running back needs a backup, and while Malik Willis might be that backup, maybe that happens, I don't know that Jerry Jones can resist. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys, McCarthy saying we want to run the damn ball, I don't know if that's going to be a stance that, to me, is going to have this team sitting still at RB to fill that Zeke role. I think Malik Willis will get a crack at it, maybe, but I could definitely see them bringing in a Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt and is one of the top players available. He's the only big name player left in the free agent running back pool, and he's not signed anywhere. If Kareem Hunt goes to Dallas, we're going to all have to re-look at Tony Pollard's value, and maybe his ADP drops so much at that point that we can say, hey, we still love Pollard, and he's still like in the same role he was last year, where he's going to be used enough to where he's going to be a top 10 running back, and no one's going to want to pay even close to that value. So maybe Tony Pollard becomes an extreme buy if something like that happens, and we'll want to buy him everywhere. But as of right now, there is a threat that the Dallas Cowboys bring in a running back because Zeke is leaving. We want Zeke to stay. He's not going to stay. But I'm telling you, Zeke Elliott staying is way better than them having a vacancy that Jerry Jones is itching to fill. I'm telling you right now, Zeke is a shell of himself. Everyone's getting overly excited about something that's irrelevant, and it keeps Pollard in the driver's seat. So we have to escape the NFL draft. We have to escape Kareem Hunt being brought in as a between the tackles running back, a TD vulture. We need to escape all of that before Tony Pollard's in the clear. However, this is a fantasy football predictive game, right? And we need to try and predict things ahead of the curve. We need to try and predict things. And at this point, I'm willing to take the gamble on Tony Pollard, because even if they do bring in, let's say, a Kareem Hunt, or they draft a Bigsby, or they even draft a Sean Tucker, I have enough faith in this guy and his role that he's already carved out. This guy has not carved anything out yet. Swift is a talent. Swift I want on a lot of my teams. Swift I want in best ball specifically, because he's just waiting there. And if he blows up and has 40 points one game, he goes right into your lineup optimizational, lineup setting, where you don't have to do a thing in best ball. This guy right here has already carved out a role. No matter what they do at running back, unless they draft Bijan, even if they took Sean Tucker, a guy I love, I've been pumping Sean Tucker up more than any channel you can find. I guarantee that. But I don't know. I don't know that anybody's going to affect. I don't think anybody's going to affect. Yeah, Adam, if you're on the Dynasty channel, if you don't just realize you're on the Dynasty channel, please subscribe. Guys, subscribe to the Dynasty channel. Okay, this is a different channel than the main channel. And hit that thumb up button. We got 17 thumbs up. Yeah, punch that thumb up button. Unless they draft Bijan, I don't care what happens. I'm still all in. I'm still all in on Pollard. But the cost of entry will change, and we need to be flexible to that. We need to adapt to that so we can take full advantage. But this guy right here has proven it. This guy has not. This team believes in this guy. This team does not. This team has not yet brought in a running back between the tackles that could take away from Pollard. This team has. This running back that took the place of Jamal Williams is a better receiver than Jamal Williams. And Monty all by himself could handle the 3-down roll and pull in passes and be every bit as good as anybody else on the roster in terms of receptions and receiving work. This guy is the number one receiving back on his team. Even if they brought in a rookie, it takes rookies some time to learn pass protection, especially learning pass protection in their offense that they're going to. So even if you have pass protection experience in college, this guy's going to default be the pass protecting back. He's by default going to get his third down work. No matter what, he's going to have a great year. It's just the cost of entry changes depending on what potentially happens next in terms of the rest of the free agency, Kareem Hunt, a la Kareem Hunt, or the draft. This guy is already doomed to a degree unless Monty gets injured, because there's no way, given what they just paid Montgomery, which was a handsome amount of money. Let me pull up Montgomery's contract here, and we'll plop it on screen here. I forget the exact numbers. It's 18 million, I think. It was like 10, 11 million guaranteed. So it was a handsome amount of money. Here it is. Monty's getting paid $11 million guaranteed. $11 million guaranteed. Okay, $18 million on a 3-year deal. That is starter money. I mean, that is at least sharing the role but you are getting paid to be probably the first and second down back type of money. But I'm telling you, David Montgomery, he's not old yet. He's got 2 or 3 years left. At least 2. He's so talented and versatile that he could be the 3-down back. Whereas Jamal Williams, he didn't feel like he had that. We'll see what he does in New Orleans, and especially if Alvin Kamara gets hit with some long-term suspension. This is a guy that could be the 3-down back. And that's a threat to Swift more than anybody except for Bijan that is brought in to take away from Pollard because the team loves him. He's proven. And per touch, this guy's off the charts. Per touch, this guy's a top 5 running back in the National Football League. There's a really good chance, and please understand what I'm saying. Please do not go out and draft him off of what I'm about to say and around the value of what I'm about to say, or I will hit this button if you come in here and tell me, Smitty, I listened to you and I took him really high.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Listen to Smitty. Hear Smitty. Don't just listen to him. Listen to him and hear him. This guy could be. The word could. Don't buy him here. Don't expect it. It's something you're hopeful for. This guy could be a top 5 to 6 running back. Top 5 to 6 running back in 2023 end of season. And in Dynasty, I mean, his shelf life probably, I would say, is about 3 to 4 years. I would say give him 3 and take it year to year after the 3 years because he's not exactly a rookie, but he hasn't been worn down. But every running back has a shelf life regardless of how much they get used. The shelf life has an expiration date, or when an expiration date kicks in to potentially lowers value, each and every year. It doesn't matter if he doesn't get touches until or till age 27. If he doesn't get touches till age 27, he's still dropping off in his 30, 31 age season. It doesn't matter. Your body gets older. Your body gets slower. It doesn't matter. The mileage can have an effect on when you fall off earlier than expected, but you can't just escape the 31, the 30, 29, 28, 30, depending on how much usage you've had. But you can't escape that end result of drop off when you're 30 years old. You're essentially done. McKinnon's like 30, 31, and he's a wide receiver / running back. And so him having such a good year in 2022 was on its face a very big surprise at his age, but because he's used as a wide receiver, it makes sense. And he didn't play that way the whole year, so the mileage didn't add up and get him injured, because at 31 years old, you really can't stay healthy at the NFL level. My final conclusion, then I'm going to go to the phone lines are open if you want to dial in. My conclusion, and then I'm going to roll with the chat comments and talk to you guys about what you're saying and acknowledge what you're saying, is Pollard by, I don't want to say a mile, but pretty much a mile in terms of all the risk levels and in terms of the cost of entry, in terms of what we're likely going to see out of Pollard in 2023, which will be indicative as to what we're going to see in 2024, 2025. It's going to tell a story. There's no way that Swift has a very bad year and then becomes the starter in 2024 and just gets totally unlocked. It's not the way it's going to work. It's not the way it's going to work. If Swift is going to have an amazing career, he's going to have an amazing 2023. I don't see how at his age, with his failure so far, and he has failed, no matter what way you want to, look at it. There's no way he fails again this year and is handed the starting job next year. He has to do incredible things this year. He has to. I forgot to turn on notifications for the Dynasty channel. Yep, do that, Prime. And guys, if you're watching right now, please subscribe to this Dynasty channel right here. Pollard by a mile. Pollard has top 5 to 6 running back appeal in 2023 and beyond. Do not buy him there, or you will get this button.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
You can buy him so far outside of top 5 running back value, This guy can give you top 5 running back value if everything plays out perfectly for him, but that's Monty getting hurt or failing. That's Swift staying healthy. That's Swift trying to earn the confidence back of his coaching staff. That's Swift getting goal line work. There's so many ifs there that I just listed off. The odds are extremely against him. Extremely against him. The answer is Pollard by 1,000 miles. Doesn't mean I don't love both of them. Doesn't mean that at cost of entry, if he falls because of the Monty signing, as ADP finally adjusts in the next week or two, if he falls into round 8 or 7, then of course I would love him cost of entry. And I still like him cost of entry to a degree. If, let's say, the draft is flowing a certain way, I go hero running back. I go 0 RB through 4 rounds, and I end up getting a Swift and a Kamara and a Charbonnet. Like, can someone tell me that Swift, Kamara, and Charbonnet wouldn't be a fantastic trio of running backs if you were to go heavy wide receiver and tight end, or heavy quarterback and wide receiver? I would love that approach. So there's a place for Swift, 100%. But Pollard is the guy. Pollard is the guy if we're comparing these two. Let's see if we can Dynasty notifications. Appreciate you being part of the Dynasty notification gang. Let's see here. I need Dynasty help in my life, Smitty. First time doing Dynasty Superflex, tight end premium, pick 1.12. Yeah, it kind of depends on the flow. It's hard to give you like a name at that point, but definitely feel like it's gonna be something that you're gonna need to get with us when you're on the clock, bro, to let us know what's going on. Would love to see Swift in Philly. I don't think Swift's getting traded, bro. They like him there. He's not going to not be used. Tony Pollard versus Swift, says Terry. Dallas drafting Bijan or Gibbs. They can't draft Bijan unless they trade up. So if you're predicting a trade up, then yeah, I just don't see him falling. You never know. But Gibbs would be kind of, I think, not the best move for Dallas, because Pollard and Gibbs are very similar. I think that if they draft somebody, it's a between the tackles guy. But you never know with Jerry. He's very, very strange. Pollard just as talented with more work, but Swift is younger. Yeah, but Sandu, that's the crutch for a lot of people. That is how people kind of sometimes, I think, they fall into a trap in Dynasty, and you look at age too much. You can't look at how old somebody is when both players are young enough to survive 3 or 4 years. You start worrying about 22 years old versus 24, and you're gonna get burned. Like that's you're playing for second place. You know what I mean? Pollard is not old, so and when you talk about breakout age, there's a lot to that. If you're a wide receiver and your breakout age, you hit your breakout age like a year earlier, you hit that breakout age that everybody is targeting for a wide receiver coming out of college versus a 22-year-old rookie. There's so much like in that data that suggests the younger players a way better odds of working out than the older player. There's so much data behind that. But when you're talking about an established player like Tony Pollard, who had to climb up the ranks, he's clearly trusted by his team. He absolutely exploded last year. You can't look at that breakout age and try comparing a Swift or somebody that hasn't yet done anything. Like Swift's breakout, what good Swift's breakout age if he never stays on the field, number one, or number two, never gets the carries or support from his staff. Again, like that guy that called in the other day and was arguing with me to the ends of the earth. He didn't hear me. Swift is valuable. Swift has amazing value in the right spot. Pollard has top 5 win a league value at his current spot. There's just a big difference. But do not look at, he's younger, I have to go with Swift over Pollard. Do not look at that. Pollard is young enough to not worry about that. Ron Navy, you're live.
Really? Swift, Kamara in the same sentence?
Yeah.
I about vomited.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a zero or hero running back strategy, those are the things you're looking for. Those are the home.
Yeah.
You what?
Charbonnet, yeah, I agree with Charbonnet. If I'm building a zero running back, I'm not having Swift or Kamara still.
Well,
I'm going alternate means.
Yeah, we know you wouldn't invest in him at any cost. But when you're building a zero RB or hero RB approach in Dynasty, and you need to look at the veterans. You need to look at those castaways, the 1 year and done type talents to help support your running back room, because you're not going to get the other guys. So if you go zero RB or hero RB, whatever way you want to word it, and you get to the point where you can scoop up one young guy like Charbonnet, so you got that covered. You got one young running back you're building around. There's going to be a ton of players you can grab that are rentals. This is similar to my Aaron Rodgers rental for 2023. I absolutely love it, because in Dynasty, people are going to discard Kamara to the point where he's practically free. And so if you can scoop him up and hold that upside on your roster, and if he works out, you have a team that no one should have. You have a team that you've stacked the wide receivers, the quarterback, the tight end, whatever. And if Kamara is some version of his old self at a cost that is zero risk, absolutely zero risk, you will win your league. You will win your league because Alvin Kamara, in some form of his old self for even half a season, will have you scoring points at the running back position you do not deserve to score because you waited so long to fill that position. So I get your aversion to it, but you got to think, like, I mean, if you don't want to draft him just out of principle, I get it. I actually respect that. But for me, it's all about business, you know? Like, I don't hold all that in mind unless it was some kind of crime that I don't even want to say verbally on the show. Then I would say you're done. The NFL needs to do something. I'll never draft this man again. I get, him getting in a fight. It was awful. It was gruesome. But I'm not here to worry about that. If he's on the field, I've got to tell my people where to draft him. And Kamara in a zero or hero RB approach is one of the best values at running back, because he's almost free. He's almost free, Ron.
Yeah, but I'm grabbing the free guys that are later on, like a Tucker, like a Kendall Miller, or one of those guys, or even like Jalen Warren, all those guys down at the bottom where you can get them free. That's who I'm drafting. I'm staying away from.
I know.
And that's just me. I know
that's you, and I appreciate that. I know why you're doing it, but you can't get Sean Tucker. You can't get Sean Tucker for free in a dynasty anyway. Kendre Miller, we'll see if he's even. You still got to draft Kamara above like Jalen Warren, because Kamara's got, like I said, that potential to give you top 5 to 10 running back numbers, even if it was for half a season. I don't think he's getting suspended for the year. I don't even trust the NFL to suspend him at all at this point. Kamara, as much as I feel like I gotta warn people, what he did was awful. The NFL should be suspending him for half a season. You gotta think it'll happen. But then again, Ron, it's a little frustrating for me when I'm the only one out here talking about it. I'm the only one out here going live on it. Other media outlets that are usually excited to call out a player's fault or just create negative buzz about somebody in a bad way, those people aren't even talking about it. And I'm not trying to drive the man's career into the ground. It is what it is. He did something very bad, and I think the NFL should act. The NFL isn't, so I've done a lot of live streams. I've called it out. I'm probably the only guy that went live when that first video footage came to light. It was grainy. It was the dude holding the phone well away from the monitor, so it wasn't even clear. And I went live at like 11 or 12 p.m. my time and 1 a.m. I think Eastern on a new live stream, because we were live doing drafting. I'm like, let's start the live over. We need a new compartmentalized video on this. I ended it. I went live, and nobody cared. The next day, nobody cared. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, Ron. So like the NFL's got zero pressure. They could care less, unless some outlet starts picking it up or some advertisers start threatening. I don't even know if he's missing more than 4 games or 6 games, because as Tony said, our in-house call-in attorney, it calls in all the time and gives us amazing advice on this type of stuff. He said that if he pleads out to the lesser charge, which is the conspiracy charge, which is very different than the bodily injury charge. Bodily injury is you hurt this man. Conspiracy is you conspired to maybe hurt someone, but you didn't hurt them. because he's not pleading to the injury part. He pleads to conspiracy, misdemeanor, 4 to 6 games. 4 to 6. Kamara could miss 4 to 6 games. That is crazy value in round like 10, 9, 8. Depending on where he goes. In Dynasty, I imagine it's 10. I imagine in Dynasty you're drafting him at 9 or 10. I don't think people even if he was not missing the season, let's say he was not missing even a game, I think in Dynasty people are a little scared off of last year's drop-off in production. But let's be real. That offense was hurting. It wasn't able to move the football down the field. There was a QB rotation of quarterbacks. It was garbage. Now they got Carr. They got a top 10 defense. Maybe Kamara has one more year of value that is zero risk, but, top 5 to 10 potential for at least a portion of the season. I don't know why I'm getting back on the Kamara train, but I am. Not because I like him, just because the value's there.
Yeah, well, and I forgot we're on your Dynasty channel. It looks a lot like your main channel, but it's amazing. It's amazing the replication that you're able to do. Between the channels.
I have wanted to create a different section of my studio to do the Dynasty content so that there is that vibe, but I haven't got there yet. Sandu says, Smitty, how did you feel about Sean Tucker's combine? He didn't have a combine. He had a pro day. I'm sure that's what you meant. And it was fantastic. And the only negative to it is that, it's kind of hard to digest some of it because it's not the same production quality. He did post all the equipment that was used. There were people there to confirm that it was, all properly calibrated and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's going to be impressive to a handful of teams, and it might be something that just gets overlooked by another handful of teams. There's also an injury or medical condition that hasn't fully come to light that he said should be cleared up very, very soon, but it didn't allow him to participate in the combine. So we're still waiting on that. But Sean Tucker has been my number 4 ranked rookie running back since January. And that hasn't.
Kenny Pickett was throwing them the ball.
You who?
Kenny Pickett was throwing them the ball.
Yeah.
In that pro day.
Yeah. So Sean Tucker's got a whole lot of upside. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers took him, which would kind of be tough for me because, if you believe in Najee, then that's going to not leave much room for him to become a workhorse or anything. But Sean Tucker, I see in Cincinnati. I picture him in at a lot of locations, but he's very at risk of going to a cloudy spot because he's going to fall far. And when you fall far, teams are just like, hey, let's get a good back. And there's such value that you just draft him when you don't even need him. So Sean Tucker has that risk of being in a very clouded situation, whereas the earlier drafted backs don't, because no way. Everybody keeps saying Bijan's got bad value now. Smitty, avoid Bijan. Hey Ron, I got to jump right now. I just came on here to do a quick live stream, and it's 33 minutes. I got to leave to go pick up the little one at school, so I got to jump now. But I'll be back. Definitely call in for the other show.
Alrighty, later.
Hey, appreciate you. Sorry to rush you off. Later. Anyway, guys, I got to jump real quick. I just looked at the time. I will see you all for the 7 p.m. show. I might be back even earlier if news breaks, but thank you for joining me for this live stream, this Dynasty live stream, baby. Later.